Tranaya karunya gana gana tvam
Samsara
Navalita Loka
Dharana Karuna Gana Gana
samsara dava nalalita loka tranaya karunya gana gana tvam
Samsara
Navalita Loka Tanaya Karuna Kavana Kavatam
Aptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru Sri Charanara Vindam
Tapasya Kalayana Kunasya Vande Guru Shri Charanam Vindam
Aptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru Sri Charanara Vindam
Tapasya Kalayana Kunasya Vande Guru Shri Charanam Vindam
Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam
Vande
Vande
Guru
Guru Shri Charanam Vindam Charanam Vindam.
Wonderful.
Yay!
Haringo.
Sandra, you want to take us away?
Okay, so we're on page 5, I believe, right? Is bhakti caused by, is that right?
Yeah, in my copy it's 7, but is bhakti caused by nishkama karma, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay. Vishnupriya, do you have a copy, or do you have the
I
document?
don't. I'm just listening in.
Okay.
But you
I'll
could
send
also, I took pictures too.
Oh,
Oh, perfect. Okay,
If you
that's
want to be
perfect.
extra rebellious.
Okay, I can. It's good.
Okay. Okay, is bhakti caused by nishkama karma? Through many scriptural statements such as, and then can I just, you guys just say the
sure.
Sanskrit?
Sure.
Okay, such as,
Swachavatara Charitai, Srimad
and,
Bhagavatam 4.8.57, and Swacha Mayasya, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.2.
okay, one can understand that the Lord appears by his own will. Still, material vision may impel one to say that the need to relieve the burden of evil on the earth is the cause of the Lord's advent. In the same way, sometimes it is said that prescribed activities, karma, performed without personal motives, nikkama, act as the door to bhakti. But yet charity and austerities are clearly denied as causes of bhakti.
Yamna Yogena Sankhena Dhanavrata Tapodvarai Vyakya Swadhyaya Sanyashyai Prapnuyad Manam Api.
But I cannot be attained by intense efforts of yoga, sankhya, charity, vows, austerity, sacrifices, explaining the Vedas, study of the Vedas, or sannyasa. Srimad Bhagavatam 11 Canto, chapter 12, text 9. But it is also stated that charity, austerity, etc. are the cause of bhakti.
Dana Vrata Tapahoma Japa Swadhya Samyamai Shreyo Vir Vividas Chanyai Krishna Bhaktir Hi Sadyate. Also, I'm not going to translate or explain anything unless there's like a question about it this time.
Okay. Devotion to Krishna is accomplished by such things as charity, austerities, homa, japa, study, sense control, and other pious activities. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-24.
Interesting.
Should I read the little asterisks or?
Yeah, sure.
One should also meditate on the attractiveness which the Lord will produce through his inconceivable power in various pastimes, which he incarnates by his will.
When
He incarnates by his will. You, the one form of this Savyam Bhagavan, gave me mercy by your own will.
So there's a conflict, right? They're saying that, okay, in some places it said that charity and austerity are clearly denied as causes of bhakti, and then the next verse is that it is also stated that charity and austerity are the cause of bhakti.
And both in the same book.
In the same book, of course, a very large book. So what do we do with that?
Here,
What's
Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur is gonna explain that in this next
the... Okay.
paragraph.
Oh, okay, I'm
And
getting ahead of myself.
if we have a problem with it, we can always discuss further. But we'll see if what he says is satisfactory.
Okay.
However, this statement refers to bhakti in the mode of material goodness. This kind of bhakti is actually part of the system of, oh, let me get my book because of Yana. Okay.
Yana.
This kind of bhakti is actually part of the system of Yanya, rather than the bhakti beyond the gunas, which leads to prema. Of course, some people say that charity means giving to Vishnu and the Vaishnavas, that vrat or austerity means such vratas as ekadasi, that tapas mean total renunciation of personal enjoyment for the attainment of the Lord. Thus, they are anyas,
Angas.
angas of sadhana bhakti. To say that bhakti is attained by the anyas is not correct, for this simply means that bhakti is caused by bhakti. Thus, the causeless nature of bhakti is again proved in this way. All points are settled.
What do you think?
So he's making a distinction. So he's saying that in the part where charity and austerity are considered causes of bhakti, they actually already are bhakti, because you're not doing it as a charity or austerity for its own sake, rather you're doing it for Krishna's sake. And so actually that doing anything for Krishna's sake is bhakti. Therefore, saying charity for Krishna's sake and austerity for Krishna's sake is the same as saying bhakti is caused by bhakti.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that did I understand, or my brain like contorting in the wrong ways?
Yeah, there was two parts of it. One, just to take it from the beginning, one, charity and austerity do not cause bhakti. So that's the idea of like, well, I'm going to give to a homeless person, or I'll perform austerity, I'll just meditate. That's not going to cause devotional service. If I don't have any devotion for Krishna, I do this external activity, it won't cause it. However, if I have some devotion to Krishna and then I perform dana, right, and then I give charity and then I practice austerity, technically it leads to bhakti because I'm already doing it for Krishna. That's one part. And then the second part is that it's saying that like this statement refers to bhakti in the mode of material goodness. So it's still nishkama karma. Nishkama karma, meaning that I don't have any desire, but I hear that this is the right thing to do, so I'm doing it.
So it's actually jnana.
Well, it's still bhakti, but it's just not pure. There might still be some jnana. Right. There might still be some like materially motivated impetus.
It's so interesting. So like under each of the yogas, you can think of there being bhakti even under jnana yoga, like a flavor of bhakti within jnana yoga, then a flavor of perhaps jnana yoga within bhakti as well. I don't know, but that just made me wonder if that was the case.
Yeah, Mishra Bhakti.
What's that?
Mishra means mixed. That's why unalloyed devotional service is such a rare thing, because it's like there can be a tinge of like, you know, I want to perform the service because of recognition, and there's part of karma. I want to perform the service because, well, it's the right thing to do and that'll liberate me from karma.
Oh, that's so interesting. It's so rich. It's like, so then thinking that, oh, doing the right thing for because it's the right thing to do, that's actually bhakti. I'm sorry, that's actually jnana yoga. Bhakti yoga is you do everything out of love, perhaps not so without such a moral, like this is right and this is wrong and everything is split into those two outcomes.
Yeah. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he will continue to be so even if he breaks my heart by not being present before me or destroys it by embracing me too tightly. He can do whatever he wants.
So beautiful.
It's because we
Okay.
have to accept our humanness, like of our material vision, like because we're still here. Like
Yeah,
the
it's true.
reality, we still have them, like right in the very beginning says material vision may impel one to say that the need to relieve the burden of evil. It's like we have that disposition.
Yeah. It'll explain it. Yeah. It'll explain it later in the book, but we can't even experience prema in the body. We can get to a really high state of devotional service, but prema like requires a fully spiritualized body. Like the body can't, if there's, they just can't exist at the same time.
Yeah, you just leave your body if you're experiencing pure prema bhakti. You're just out.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna log on to our phone because we're gonna go get prasad from the temple, but we'll still be here.
Noise.
Okay, Vishnu, can you read next?
Oh yeah, I can read. I can read next. My
Okay,
camera
cool.
will be off. My
Yes.
phone can't do both. 1 second. Okay. Bhakti is always distinct from karma and jnana. Shreyaha shritim bhaktim udasyate vibho klishyanti ye kevala bodha labdhaye tesham asau kleshala eva shishyate nanyad yatha sthula tushavaghasinam. O Lord, if fools give up bhakti, the all-inclusive path, and suffer to attain realization of Atma without bhakti, they simply attain suffering and nothing else. They are like fools who beat empty husks. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4. Tyaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvo athapatet tato yadi Yatra kva bhadram abhud amushyakim ko varta apto abhajatam swadharmataha. If a person, having given up his duties in varnashrama, begins the worship of the Lord's lotus feet and happens to deviate or not reach perfection, there is no misfortune for him at all in the future. But what does the person who follows all duties of varnashrama but does not worship the Lord gain? Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. Pureha bhuman bahavo api yoginas tvad arpiteha nija karma labdhaya vibudya bhaktyaeva kathopanitaya prapedire anyo achyutate gatim param. O Lord, possessing unlimited glory, O Lord, who does not fail his devotee, many yogis in the past, offering their activities to you and developing realization through devotional activities, easily attained your association. It is seen from the above verses that the accomplishments of results on the paths of jnana, karma, and yoga, etc., are completely dependent on bhakti, whereas the accomplishment of the result of the practice of bhakti, which is prema, is never dependent on karma, jnana, or yoga. Tasman mad bhakti yuktasya yogino ve mad atmanaha na jnanam na cha vairagyam prayaha shreyo bhaved iha. Therefore, for a devotee engaged in bhakti, with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not beneficial for bhakti. Dharman samtyajya yaha sarvan mam bhajeta satu sattamaha. He who gives up all paths and simply worships me is the best among men. Not only that, bhakti achieves the results of karma, jnana, and yoga without depending on these processes at all. Yat karmabhir yat tapasa jnana vairagyatascha yat yogena dana dharmena shreyobhir itarer api sarvam madbhakti yogena madbhakto labhate angyasa svarga pavargam. Madhama katanchit yadi vanchati. Everything that can be achieved by karma, penance, jnana, vairagya, mystic yoga, charity, and all other auspicious means of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through bhakti. If somehow or other my devotee desires swarga, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.32 to 33. Without bhakti, these how many paragraphs should I read?
No, maybe just oh, the section's almost done. So if we could just read to the section.
Okay. Without bhakti, these processes do not give their results. Bhagavad bhakti hinasya jatihi shastram japastapaha pranasyeva dehasya mandanam loka ranjanam. If one is devoid of bhakti, one's birth, scriptural knowledge, japa, and austerities are only decorations on a dead body to attract common people. Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya 3.11. Bhakti is independent because of its supreme power and gives life to the other processes. Is there anything to add or question or comment on the section?
Try to it's making a distinction between the differences. But could you like give a little summary again, like you did the last one?
Summary on the different systems of yoga?
Yeah, or just right here, just of what we just read.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let us go back. So, well, I don't know that they're necessarily delineating each karma, jnana, and yoga. Maybe they did earlier for one of the previous reading sessions.
No.
No? Do you want me to say something that's outside of the text? I don't.
Yeah, however you.
Okay. Karma, jnana, and yoga. Well, in my mind, karma is one's dutiful actions, right?
Right.
So if you are, if you're considering yourself within the varnashrama system, then if you are a brahmachari, then your duty is to study and be celibate and serve at the temple or serve at whatever your community, whatever that means in your time, place, circumstance. That's your duty, right? And you can do that, and that's karma, and then it becomes karma yoga because yoga means to connect to something higher. So it becomes karma yoga when you do it out of with Krishna consciousness or God consciousness in mind, and you connect your activities to God or higher power. Jnana yoga is philosophical, even ethical, moral, almost deliberation of the universe, what's right, what's wrong. And you can do that with or without God, right? A nihilist is also a philosopher in a sense. An atheist is also a philosopher in a sense. And then you can connect it to God or a higher power, and then that can become Jnana Yoga. And usually that looks like Sankhya philosophy. So Sankhya philosophy it was mentioned a little bit earlier, but they said Sankhya, and it's basically like thinking about dividing up the world into material and spiritual, and then coming up with, okay, this is how we know there's a God or whatever. Basically, it's Jnana Yoga, and you connect it to a universal worldview that includes a God or a deity. So I think.
And then bhakti it allows for all of these processes to even occur.
Yeah, it's kind of, and I was trying to think while I was reading, I was trying to think of an analogy And of course, I couldn't come up with any. And of course, there was an even better analogy just later at the end of the section, which is that all these austerities and charities and knowledge and scriptural whatever, it's all decorations on a dead body to attract common people. And so my understanding is like, then bhakti is the life force of a body. And so without bhakti, you are just a dead body. Everything is decorated on a dead body. And it even says in that last line, bhakti is independent because it's supreme power and gives life to the other processes. So if we can think of jnana yoga as like a brain and karma yoga as your arms and whatever, you can like, maybe there's an appropriate place to put all of those things.
Right.
But it doesn't matter that they're analogous to a body if the body is a dead body. And bhakti is the life force of a body that thus making those things actually be
It's almost like those are like the fragmented aspects of self.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought of bhakti as like, oh, it's the heart of yoga, but that's an incorrect analogy now, I see, because from reading this, I see, well, because, I mean, the heart is just I mean, of course, yes, the heart, everything depends on the heart, but if you just had just the heart, you still need food and you still need like, the heart enough itself isn't sufficient, but bhakti is sufficient. So bhakti isn't just necessary, it's necessary and sufficient. And so the only comparison would be a life force rather than the heart, because the heart, while necessary, isn't sufficient. Right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
And then
that
life
was my
force
thought.
is independent in itself and it's fully sustaining and
exactly
outside of that analogy. Beautiful.
Okay. Now I'm sorry that I have to leave. I know I just like showed up for 5 seconds.
No, this is perfect. I'm so glad, even for your version of 5 seconds. And then
we'll do one next week.
Just real quick, she said exactly what you were saying, Vishnupriya.
Oh, nice.
She like was giving affirmation. Amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Well, thank you, beautiful, for joining, even just for a little bit. And that's what I would want everyone. I was telling that to Donna Raja and Julie Nacho that like if we just can do just like this little bit and then that's it. Like whatever we can.
And then I already have a lot to think about. I feel like
exactly. I know. And it's like so that's what I was talking about. So we're only gonna read a few pages, I promise. It's so good. They're back. They're gonna say bye. You guys, can you guys say bye to Vishnupriya?
Thank you for organizing.
Maybe we can move the reading to like Friday night. Maybe that might work better for everyone.
No, it won't.
No? It's Saturday? Oh, okay, never mind.
Well, if this is good for everyone, it's good for me. Friday is not so easy.
Oh, okay. So Saturday we will stay.
Hi, Krishna.
Hi, Krishna, Vishnu. I just got to the meeting. Sorry.
No problem. I saw you there. Haribol.
Yes.
Haribol.
All right, my love. See you later. Okay, Ashvari, you want to read the next part for us?
Where are you guys at exactly?
We're on page 8, called Bhakti does not depend on purity nor faith.
Page 8, okay. Page 8.
The
Bhakti does not depend on purity?
Does not depend on purity. Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna also take a picture of the page 9.
Okay.
Because if you could read it up into the next section.
Okay, sure. I can do that. Okay. Bhakti does not depend on purity nor on faith. The dependence of karma yoga on conditions of purity in place, time, candidate, materials, and performance is well known from the Smriti scriptures. This is not true of bhakti. Should I read the Sanskrit or
they're reading the Sanskrit.
Okay. Nadesha ni yamas tatra na kala ni yamas tata no chishta do Nishedo Stiharer Namani Lubdaka. In chanting the name of the Lord, there are no restrictions concerning place, time, purity, and so on. Vishnu Dharma. Nor is bhakti even dependent upon faith. Sakrid api parigitam shradya hilayava Brigu Vara Nara Matram Tarayet Krishna Nama. O best of Brigu dynasty, heard once with faith or in negligence, it can deliver any human being. Bhakti is not dependent on purity of practice, for whether the name is chanted purely or impurely, it would deliver the fallen soul. The same cannot be said of Karma Yoga, where impurity is a great obstacle to progress. Mantrahina swarato varnato va mito prayukto natam atam aha yatendra shatru swarato padat saivag vajo yagamanam hi hinasti. A mantra devoid of proper intonation and pronunciation with improper use does not fulfill its purpose. Thus, by saying enemy of Indra improperly, the thunderbolt of the words killed the priest because of his offense. Let me just move on to the next page. 1 second. 9. The necessity of internal purity for practice of Jnana Yoga is well known. Jnana Yoga is moreover dependent on Karma Yoga, for one may enter Jnana Yoga only with a heart purified of gross desires, and such purity of heart stems from the performance of karma without gross desires. Because of this dependency, if the practitioner of Jnana Yoga commits even a small unworthy act by accident, he is condemned as a batashin, eater of vomit. Oh, wow. Ya, ya pravajya grahat purvam tri vargavanpanat puna. Yadi sevita tan bhikshu sa vai vatasya patrapa. One who, having renounced the house and dharma, artha, and kama, again enjoys them in a shameless eater of vomit. Besides Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu, and Ravana were famous practitioners of jnana, and they were certainly not at all worthy of praise. On the other hand, one on the path of bhakti, though afflicted by lust, has the qualification to begin the practice, and just by the practice of bhakti, bhaktim pratilabhya, after performing bhakti, lust and other impurities are destroyed. Vikritam raja barhubir idam cha vishno shradhavanvito nishrunyat ata varyanyed ya bhaktim param bhagavati partilabhya kamam hird rogam ashwapihinat ya charirena diraha. Anyone who faithfully and continually hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the highest type of prema to the Lord, quickly destroy lust, the disease of the heart, and immediately become steady. And even though impurities such as lust may sometimes appear in the devotee, the scriptures never condemn that devotee. Api chit sur duracharo bhajate mam ananyat bhak sadur eva sa manta vyaha samyang vyashisito saha. Even if the most sinful person worships me with no other desire than to please me, I consider that person to be my devotee, since he has fixed himself completely in me. Keep going, or
If
uh,
if you can, because then Dhanraj is eating. And Jonah.
oh, okay. I thought it seemed like they were on a walk on like around the temple
Yeah,
or something.
they went to go get prasad and then they're back now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
If you don't
All
mind.
right. I no, yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. Um, yeah, these verses, I'm not gonna lie, these are pretty hard to read.
You're doing it nicely.
I don't know. Okay, but yeah, mano pi mad bakto vishasyor ajitendriyaha praya pragalbaya bhaktya vishayur nabi buyate. If my devotee has not fully conquered his senses, he may be hard. What is that word? It's hard to read in this picture. He
Harassed.
may be harassed. Okay. He may, if my devotee is not fully conquered his senses, he may be harassed by material desires. But because of his generally strong bhakti, he will not be defeated by sense gratification. Ajamil's position as a devotee was accepted by the Vishnudutas, even though people such as Ajamil utter the name of the Lord inadvertently. In Ajamil's case, out of affection for his son, they are universally praised as devotees, even though their chanting must be considered namabas, not pure. One's internal purity and the purity of place and materials are indispensable for accomplishment in karma, jnana, and yoga. Deficiency in these areas obstructs progress on those paths. But bhakti, however, is the very giver of life to these paths. Therefore, all these paths are dependent. Things which are truly independent are never dependent for their success or failure on anything else. Only an ignorant person will say that bhakti is but a means of attaining jnana, for factually bhakti takes a position higher than even the goal of jnana, which is moksha. Rajan patir gurur alam bhavatam yajunam jaivam priya kula prati Kwacha Kinkaro va Asvaivam Evam Anga Bhagavan Vajutam Mukundo Maktim Dadati Karihichit Smabna Bhakti Yogam. O King
I have a
Parikshit.
question. Ashwari Keshava Prabhu, did it say Muktim Dadati or Bhaktim Dadati?
Muktim Dadati.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, that looks like nice prasad, whatever you guys are having right now. Okay.
First class.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Wait. How do I get back to the picture?
Oh.
Okay. So it's a little weird, this setup of like
The pictures.
picture with the Zoom chat open. Yeah. Okay, there you go. I got it. O King Parikshit, Krishna was the protector, instructor, object of worship, giver of affection, and the protector of both the Yadus and the Pandavas. But he was sometimes your servant. The Lord gives liberation, but not even bhava bhakti to those who worship him. Muktanam api siddhanhanam narayana paraya parayana surdulabha surdalabha prashantatma kushtit api mahamune. O great sage, greater than those who are jiva mukta and okay, in the picture
Greater.
I can't see the words. Oh, greater. then those who attain liberation is a devotee of Lord Narayana. Is that what it says?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's just like it's angled.
I know. It's because of the way I took the picture. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just at the end of the word. Such a devotee who is Shanta or other rasas is very rare, even among 10 million people. Wow. When the Lord as Upendra become subservient to Indra to give him support, he did so as his mercy. He is actually not inferior to Indra. In this manner, bhakti, being merciful, becomes a limb of jnana, just to give support to jnana. This is the understanding of the intelligent person. Smaran, smaranta, smaranyantash cha mito. Gaguha haram harim. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya bibrat yupulakam tanum. Remembering and inspiring other devotees to remember the Lord who destroy all sins, the devotees will develop hairs standing on end and ecstasy by prema bhakti, produced from sadhana bhakti. The result of bhakti is another form of bhakti called prema. Thus, bhakti is the topmost goal for mankind. The preeminent, all-pervading, totally independent, self-manifesting, and life-giving nature of the great energy, bhakti, is of the same nature as the Supreme Lord, from whom bhakti emanates. This has been explained here. If one still prefers a process other than bhakti, that person should be considered bereft of the power of good judgment. What else can be said? If one is a human being but does not take to the process of bhakti, then he should not be considered a human being at all. Koi vai na sevata vina nartaran. Who except an animal would not serve the Lord?
Drop.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. Wow.
Amazing. Reflections, feedback.
Can you summarize, John Raja?
Sure. So the first chapter, we're talking about the nature of devotional service. Let's just read the chapter titles and then go through it from there.
Okay.
Or the subsection categories. The Lord is Ras. So a very popular verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is cited here of a whole bunch of people saw Krishna in the ways that were respective to how they were interested in seeing Krishna. Some saw him as the impersonal Brahmajyoti, some saw him as Cupid personified, some wrestlers saw him as like the ultimate strength. This is showing how Krishna can reciprocate with anyone. Next was Bhakti is independent. It has the same nature as Krishna. Krishna descends whenever he wants, and so does Bhakti. That was described there. Then the mercy of the Lord and his devotee was described, which is that the devotee is given the power by Krishna to be able to distribute bhakti, which is it's like it should give us a moment of appreciation of how much Krishna respects and values his devotee, that bhakti, the potency by which Krishna can be put under the control of love, he gives to his devotees to give to others. So he's fully surrendered to the nature of his devotional service. Then we went into then we got into the technicalities of bhakti can't be brought on by other things, but people that have devotional service practice those things. You can't get love of God by giving in charity, but when you love God, you want to give in charity. bhakti is always distinct from karma and jnana. Karma requires purity of place and proper uh, enunciation and intonation of mantras. And an example is given in Bhagavatam of how just saying one letter wrong created the opposite effect. Because karma and jnana are both very like mechanistic systems. So like if I misspell a word, that word is misspelled because I'm like if I press R on a keyboard, it'll do R. But with Krishna, it's different. Like if you press R and you meant to press L, he knows your heart. He's like, oh, let's just press L. You're not dealing with a machine. But karma and jnana are very like mechanistic because they're dealing with the modes of nature in the world. But it's described here that you can't do karma or jnana well unless there's some support of bhakti. Bhakti does not depend on purity of faith. Examples are given here of so many devotees that achieved the goals of devotional service, even though they were mixed by the potency and the purity of devotional service itself. One of Krishna's names is Bhava Grahi Janardana, which means he who sees the good intentions of all. So even if you're covered with a forest of faults because you're ultimately a spiritual being, one in quality with Krishna, if you do one thing from that nature, he rips you out of like all of that imperfection. He doesn't consider any of the obstacles. And then a lot of examples were given here. And finally, after giving so many examples of how bhakti yoga is so amazing, like anything that you could want from karma and anything that you could want from jnana is like a sub-result of bhakti. So at the very end, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, who except an animal would not serve the Lord? If anyone is at all interested in their own self-interest, if anyone wants anything of value, why wouldn't you just dedicate yourself to serve the person upon which all things of value emanate from?
I kind of get a sense of like they're just, yeah, there's just so, I guess, attached to, because I'm speaking for myself of like how I could be just so set, I'm like so stubborn, like pride, but like pride and like stubbornness is what is just so strong inside me. That, yeah, it's like it's so obvious, right? It's like do this, but it's like these entanglements have this grip.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like those two are difficult for me too, especially like in a working environment. But what I notice is at least now that we're practicing Krishna consciousness, like you can kind of be more aware of when you're acting out of your ego. Like you might like say something to someone in the moment and then be like, oh, that was totally out of my ego, like a few minutes later, and be able to catch it, which is better than just doing it and not knowing that you're doing it out of ego, you know?
Yeah.
That's like the positive side. At least we can like be more reflective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And having, yeah, compassion for ourselves, for our own entanglements that I feel like I'm kind of now at a place where it's like I'm still responding to the external. And so
Yeah.
I'm I'm actively participating in it. And so I'm taking the responsibility of how I'm responding to it.
Right.
And I could see the grip is just so like I'm just like I'm still like prideful of like, well, like I need to teach you this is how
Yeah.
to be kind. And it's like, how do I not be so want to be teacher? I don't want to be teacher.
Yeah.
That's not my I can see how it might sense of authority wants to get in there and be like, let me teach you.
Yeah,
And that one's hard to not be teacher.
right.
The harder part of renunciation is there's this one verse that says that a person who rejects everything, not knowing its relationship with Krishna, is not so advanced as a person that accepts everything, seeing its connection to Krishna. But just to give an example, we're all here because of a teacher. It's not that like necessarily the position of being a teacher is bad,
Right. Oh, absolutely.
right? I feel like that's the harder part of renunciation is like, well, the other day, I mean, just yesterday we were talking to a devotee and I was mentioning like, oh yeah, I'm trying not to like curse so much, like say curse words. And this devotee said, yeah, but sometimes there's a time to. Like sometimes it's the only way to get through to someone. Like you're not going to be able to like explain anything to anyone unless you do curse. I was like, oh yeah, that's the other side of it. So it's yeah, it's like it's so subtle. It's so subtle, but yeah, it's not like an intellectual exercise of this is good, this is bad. It's so much more dynamic than that.
Yeah. I did read that this week with the text.
I have to go.
No.
I'm
Okay. Yeah,
sorry. Time for my other call.
it's pretty much
Hi,
time.
Krishna. I was so great to talk to you guys, and let's do it again next week for sure.
Okay. Next week.
Haribo.
All right, Bob.
Hey, hi, Krishna.
Howdy, howdy.
Ashbury, do you want to share anything? Because we're in our last 5 minutes, so we don't
Yeah,
have to keep going into the
yeah.
read.
I was just no. I was just looking at what surprised me is like how it's mentioned here on page what is it, page 9, how um Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu, and Ravana are mentioned as being like well-known practitioners of jnana yoga, but of course because they're not practicing any bhakti, that it's mentioned that they're not by any means like worthy of any worship or praise or any of that. And so I just think it's like so sweet how, you know, like there's this I guess when you really are like, one could be well versed in like the Vedas and knowing systematically like the progressions of the different practices of karma yoga, jnana yoga, you know. And but even if you were like, Krishna is so merciful that he openly allows everyone to practice the highest form of yoga there is without having to systematically go through the other progressions. And if anything, just as opposed to like how our conditioning of thinking is that usually we have to go through a progressional system of to get to the highest practice that is available. With Krishna is the complete opposite. He actually just makes the topmost practice of yoga available freely to anybody, whether or not they have even practiced the beginning, considered according to the Vedas, the beginning practices of spiritual advancement of the other yoga types that exist. So I think that's actually really encouraging, to see how Krishna just openly has that system and like has that in place where just that could immediately elevate someone and actually get rid of their anartas that they have and are struggling with, and in this lifetime. I think that's very sweet.
Amazing.
It's kind of like the paradox of what you just said, though. Like we have access, but there is still a progression of releasing our anarthas.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Like the paradox of it. It's like, no, there's still a process you must endeavor.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah,
least you're
it's
in
like it's
like
there
the
inside.
right, I guess, sense of container. I don't know how to say that, but because bhakti is all, but at least you're in the current where you're
Exactly.
flowing back to Krishna versus going against a current.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweetness. Okay, guys. Well, any final thoughts?
What Aishwarya Keshava said, yeah, it's an appreciation of Chaitanya in particular, because in other eras, this type of devotional service is it's like, even though you don't need to have studied the Vedas, it's like hidden in the Vedas. And even though you don't need to be qualified, like only qualified people had access to it. And so it's just like, yeah, it's now it's like officially, yeah, like Chaitanya made all the things about bhakti, all the claims about bhakti actually become true.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my final thought.
So merciful.
Quite. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very true. Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. That's like all Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because previously that was not available. Even like um, past like ages, past yugas, like the Maha Mantra wasn't freely distributed. Actually, that was like once you were already on the path for some time that the Maha Mantra was given to you, and now it's like because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just causes like just giving out the costless mercy to all mankind, because we need it the most right now at this age of Kali Yuga. Now it's actually just available for everyone without whether they've practiced it or not, or done so many bad things in their life previously. Available for everyone. But yeah, that's 100% true. What Donna was saying.
Thank you, guys. I'll put another poll for us to maybe do it in the evening Saturday, next Saturday.
Okay.
Do you think
Starting with chapter 2.
chapter 2? Yeah. And then I'll take
Fun.
pictures. And then we'll see. Is in the evening work for you, Dhanaraja? Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just put the poll out there for whatever works. We're willing to like move it around depending.
Depending. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We'll see who
All
else
right.
we get at that time.
Take care.
All right. Haribol. Big
Hare
love.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dana
Hari
Raja.
Hari. Hari Hari Sadhus.
You're so